The night I found the receipt, I was lying next to him, listening to him snore like nothing had happened. My body was still warm from the so-called love-making we had just shared, but my heart had turned cold. There it was, tucked inside the pocket of his jeans on the floor, a luxury spa booking for Tina J. The date was just 2 days ago. The service? A full body massage, champagne package, and a diamond necklace gift set. That was the exact moment I knew. The man I loved, the man I had loaned $40,000 to so he could pay off crushing debt and rebuild his life, had never been broken. He had never needed saving. He just needed a fool who loved him enough to fund his double life. To my loyal viewers, thank you so much for sticking with me through every story. Your support means everything. To all my new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel and energy that powers this channel and keeps these true stories coming. Also, do not forget to drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. This one is about to get very real. My name is Haley, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am 36 years old, an American, and a successful interior designer who worked her way up from scratch. I never needed a man to complete me, but I did want one to share my life with. Someone who would love me for me, not for what I could offer. Unfortunately, I did not find that man in Marcus. Marcus, where do I even begin? He was charming, gorgeous in a disarming way, the kind of man who walks into a room and everyone notices. His smile, sharp enough to slice through shame, and his eyes? Dangerous. He told me he was a tech entrepreneur who had fallen on hard times after a business deal went south. He carried that pain so well, almost too well. I mistook it for vulnerability. What it really was a mask. We met at a networking brunch 2 years ago. I had just landed a big office redesign contract and was finally feeling like I could breathe. He walked in late, wearing a fitted charcoal blazer, jeans, and that lopsided smile. He came straight to my table. We laughed, we talked, we drank too much rose. By the end of the day, I was hooked. He made me feel seen. That kind of scene that makes you drop your guard before you even know what is happening. In the beginning, it was all affection and late-night conversations. He listened like every word I said was gospel. We spent hours wrapped up in blankets, watching old documentaries, talking about dreams. He always spoke about rebuilding. All I need is one break, babe, he would say. One clean slate. So when he confessed that he was drowning in debt, mostly from trying to keep his last startup afloat, I did not even hesitate. I asked him how much. He said he owed $38,000 in back taxes, credit cards, and an old investor. I told him I would help. I was not rich, but I had savings. I had been disciplined all my life. I wanted to build a future with him. We were already talking about moving in together, buying property, maybe even starting a family. I told myself it was a loan, and that he would pay it back once he got on his feet. He moved in with me a month after I gave him the money. I cooked for us, made our place feel like a home. He was always affectionate, always thanking me. You saved my life, Hales, he would whisper as he kissed my forehead. I believed every word. But the signs started showing soon after. He always had new clothes, new sneakers. He told me he got them through some old barter deals. Then came the late nights, meetings, old friends from the valley, networking events. He would be gone for hours and come back smelling like cigars and cologne I did not recognize. The first real red flag came on a Tuesday night. He came home late again, dropped his jeans on the floor, and went straight into the shower. Something told me to check. Maybe it was God. Maybe it was intuition. Inside his jeans was a folded-up receipt, handwritten, fancy parchment paper, from a spa I knew well. I had been there once on a girls' trip. They were expensive, elite, and exclusive. The receipt had a woman's name on it. Tina J. The date was 2 nights ago. The massage? Couples package. The note? To Tina, you deserve to be pampered always. Love, M. I felt a cold sweat break out down my back. My stomach twisted. He had just come home from one of those networking dinners. He had kissed me, told me he loved me, and then made love to me like everything was okay. I sat there on the bed, frozen. I looked at the receipt again. Love, M. It was not just the massage. It was the diamond necklace package add-on. The total? $1,285. He used my money. My savings. My heart. He used all of it to pamper another woman. And the worst part? I did not even scream. I did not cry. I just laid back in bed and listened to him shower like nothing had happened. He crawled into bed minutes later, whispered, "I love you," and wrapped his arms around me. I stared into the dark ceiling above, the receipt still in my fist under the pillow. In that moment, something inside me cracked. It was not just betrayal. It was humiliation. It was the death of the woman who thought love meant saving someone. I wanted to scream. But instead, I smiled. Because now, I had a plan. I woke up the next morning with a new silence inside me. Not the peaceful kind. The sharp, searing kind that screamed without making a sound. Marcus made us breakfast like he always did on Sundays. French toast, turkey bacon, and a fruit bowl, the same breakfast he once said reminded him of his grandmother. He hummed as he moved around the kitchen, wearing the same gray hoodie I had bought him last Christmas. To anyone else, we looked like a picture-perfect couple. But I saw him differently now. I saw the cracks in his smile, the subtle guilt behind his eyes, the sloppiness in his lies. The kind of sloppiness that only comes when someone has grown too comfortable using you. I ate breakfast in silence, smiled when he smiled, laughed when he cracked jokes. I let him believe everything was normal. He had no idea I had gone through his jeans. No idea I had seen the receipt. No idea I knew about Tina. I was not ready to confront him, not yet. I needed more. I needed to know exactly how deep the betrayal went. I needed to see the full picture of the man I had sacrificed my savings and pride for. So I began to watch him. It started small. I made mental notes of his routines, his work meetings, his gym schedule, his favorite excuses. He was a creature of habit. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he left for consulting gigs downtown. He dressed sharp, sprayed that expensive cologne. The one I never wore, and left with his laptop bag. Always around 10:30 a.m. That Tuesday, I followed him. I waited 10 minutes after he left, then grabbed my keys and drove the black Lexus I had fully paid for, in my name, of course, and stayed 2 cars behind him. We drove for 20 minutes until he pulled into a parking garage just off Peachtree Street. He stepped out, smoothed his blazer, and walked into a hotel, the Lenox Grand. I parked quickly, heart racing, and followed on foot, keeping a safe distance. He went straight to the elevator and scanned a key card. I waited in the lobby, pretending to scroll through my phone while every nerve in my body screamed. 30 minutes passed. Then 45. Then an hour. And then I saw her. She stepped out of the elevator, laughing, her head tossed back, curls bouncing, cheeks flushed. She wore a sleek red dress, high heels, and a gold necklace. My necklace. The exact one from the receipt. Marcus followed behind her, buttoning his shirt. She turned and kissed him right there in the lobby. Like no one was watching. Like they were the only 2 people in the world. And he kissed her back. It was not a kiss of lust or mistake. It was practiced. Familiar. Intimate. I turned and walked straight out before I lost every ounce of restraint. I did not go home. I drove to a nearby park and sat in the car. My hands were trembling. I had not cried in years, not like this. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I had poured everything into this man. I gave him my home, my love, my savings. I defended him to friends who warned me he was not who he claimed to be. I silenced my gut instincts for a man who held my face in his hands and told me, "You are the only real thing in my life." That night, I said nothing. I watched him come home late with that usual fake apology about a client dinner that ran long. I nodded, kissed him, and told him to get some rest. I had never been this quiet in my life, but silence was power. My silence was a fire building under the surface. The next few days, I did what any smart woman would do. I started digging. I checked his drawers, his closet, his email. He was too arrogant to clear his history or password protect his devices. Within an hour, I had everything. He had a separate email account. It was linked to a secret Instagram where he posted filtered photos of expensive meals, cars, and watches. In the captions, he called himself a crypto investor and visionary. The real Marcus was living two lives. And I had only met the full version. What really shattered me was the messages between him and Tina. Booked our couple's massage for Friday, babe. Same spa you loved. Ordered your heels, should arrive Thursday. That dress would look perfect with them. Haley thinks I am at a tech expo this weekend. Miami's all ours. Miami. He was planning a trip to Miami, with her. Using the emergency travel fund I had built over the years. I felt physically ill. But the final blow came in the form of a credit card statement I did not recognize. It had my name on it. But I never applied for it. He had used my identity to open a credit card months ago. Maxed it out. Jewelry, plane tickets, dinners, even a damn drone. I could not breathe. He did not just cheat on me. He used me. Robbed me emotionally, financially, mentally. Still, I said nothing. Instead, I called my bank the next morning and had that secret card frozen. I contacted a lawyer friend of mine, explained what happened, and she assured me we could pursue a fraud case if needed. But I was not ready to strike, not yet. I needed him to fall hard. I needed the impact to shatter whatever fantasy world he had created. So I played the role. I made love to him the next night like nothing was wrong. I wore the lingerie he liked. I moaned his name. I whispered, "I love you," while silently imagining his downfall. And he believed it. Every bit of it. Men like Marcus never see it coming. Because they assume the woman who loved them blindly will stay blind forever. A few days later, I went to the spa from the receipt and asked about their Tina J. champagne package. The receptionist, a kind older woman, smiled warmly. "Oh yes. Mr. Marcus Jackson books that one all the time. He even ordered a personalized gift set last week. Such a thoughtful boyfriend." Boyfriend. I wanted to throw up. But instead, I smiled. "That is so sweet," I said. "He always surprises me." And with that, I walked out of the spa with confirmation. He had done this before. Many times. I was never the only one. That evening, while Marcus was out at a startup workshop, I opened our joint drawer and removed every important document, bank statements, car titles, tax records. All mine. All bought and earned by me. He owned nothing in that house. Not the furniture, not the car, not even the bed he slept in. And that was when I knew, I had all the power now. He thought I was weak. He thought I was clueless. He thought I was so in love I would keep bleeding for him. But the only thing I was bleeding now, was revenge. The kind that cuts deep. The kind you never see coming. It was a Thursday morning when I decided it was time. I stood in front of the mirror in my walk-in closet, the one Marcus used to say made our home feel like a penthouse, and stared at myself. My reflection looked like a woman he had no idea existed. Not the soft-hearted fool he once manipulated, but the woman behind the mask. The woman who had planned his fall step by step, with cold precision. I had every document ready. I had moved all my savings into a new bank account. froze the secret credit card he opened under my name. And with the help of my lawyer friend, I had initiated proceedings to file charges for identity theft. Marcus was still in bed, snoring, while I slipped out of the house that morning and went straight to the leasing office. The apartment lease was in my name only. Within 24 hours, Marcus Jackson would no longer legally reside there. Then I visited the dealership. The black Lexus? Registered only to me. I scheduled a service pickup. I would take the spare key and have it towed the following week while he worked on his next big idea. And the cherry on top, I called the company that financed the MacBook he always bragged about. He had put it under my name, telling me it was temporary. I reported it stolen. He would not have a roof, a car, or a laptop by the end of the week. But there was one thing left to do. Face Tina. I found her easily. Her Instagram handle was linked through Marcus's burner account. She worked as a bottle girl at a rooftop lounge in Midtown. That Friday, I walked in early, before her shift. I wore heels, my favorite leather jacket, and no fear. She stood near the hostess desk, applying lipstick in a small compact mirror when I approached. Tina. She turned, slightly confused. Yes? I am Haley. Marcus's girlfriend. Her face twisted like she had just seen a ghost. I expected her to scream. Slap me. Deny it. But instead, her mouth parted slowly. You are lying, she said, but her voice wavered. I pulled out my phone and showed her a picture of Marcus in our apartment, with my dog, wearing boxers I had bought him for Valentine's Day. She blinked hard, then covered her mouth. Her eyes welled up. I did not know, she whispered. He told me he lived alone. That his business failed because of his ex. He said he was rebuilding. We sat at the lounge's patio corner for nearly an hour. Tina told me everything, the spa dates, the private dinners, the Miami trip he promised to take her on, to escape stress. She was 24, trying to finish nursing school. She said he made her feel like a queen. That was Marcus's specialty, packaging his brokenness as vulnerability. He knew exactly how to make women feel like heroines in his story. I told her the truth. All of it. The money. The fraud. The fake startup pitches. The receipt in the jeans. Tina looked shattered. But she thanked me. Said no one had ever given her the truth without trying to tear her down. Before I left, I said something that surprised even me. You are not the enemy. He is. We hugged. It was not about winning anymore. It was about closing the chapter. That night, I cooked Marcus his favorite dinner, garlic butter steak with roasted asparagus and wine. He came home buzzing, kissed me, and told me he landed a big gig with a startup in Texas. I smiled. Oh. That is great. When do you leave? He laughed. Next week. They are flying me out, 5-star hotel, the whole 9 yards. He had no idea it was all about to crumble. After dinner, I handed him a manila envelope and told him to open it. Inside were printouts, the frozen credit card report, the lease cancellation, the dealership pickup notice, and an affidavit from my lawyer citing pending fraud charges. His face went pale. What is this?" he stammered. "That," I said calmly, "is the cost of your lies. Your debt. And your betrayal." He stood up, suddenly angry. "Are you serious right now? You went behind my back. After everything we have been through." I cut him off. "No, Marcus. You went behind my back. After everything I gave you. Love. Trust. $40,000. My damn identity." He tried to reach for my arm. I stepped back. "Touch me, and I call the cops." He stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Not the woman he once convinced to pay his bills. but the woman who just handed him the bill for every lie he ever told. I walked out of the apartment that night and left him standing in the ruins of his fantasy. 2 days later, the car was gone. The locks were changed. The fraud report was filed. And his phone number was blocked. He tried reaching out on every platform. You ruined me. Please, let us talk. I never meant to hurt you. You went too far. But I did not respond. Not once. The woman who once begged for his attention now had none left to give. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that Marcus had moved back in with his sister in South Carolina. Jobless. Credit ruined. Bank accounts frozen. Meanwhile, I traveled to Greece. Alone. Booked a sea view suite. Sat on the balcony one night, sipping white wine, watching the waves crash against the rocks. And I smiled. Not because I had won. But because I had survived. Marcus taught me a lesson I never wanted to learn. That love without respect is theft. That giving should never come at the cost of your self-worth. That the people who beg you to save them will often drown you if you let them. So I saved myself. And now, when I look in the mirror, I do not see a fool anymore. I see a woman who walked through fire, and came out shining.